hello, anyone who's watching this in the past. I haven't really talked about doing a live stream for a bit, so I've just spontaneously gone ahead and done one. So anyone who's going to be watching this hearing me say this is going to be rewatching this. So thank you for rewatching this. I have no clue how many people are going to come. I don't really care that much. We're just going to talk about fish. We're just going to talk questions. I'm going to tell you guys a bit about what I've been doing. I haven't done a live in really, really long time. Been super busy, and wow, it looks like a lot of people have already joined. So channel is completely different since the last time I did a live stream, but I've still got the same potato camera. So kudos to me for being able to, I don't know, keep up with it. Technology, mate. It's like crazy because I've had I've been saying it for so long, I'm going to get this camera, and then I just got really, really busy doing the fish room stuff, and just haven't even thought about getting a webcam. I'm still going to do it. I think the main reason was because during the whole like panic buying stuff, people were just buying up the cameras, so I couldn't find one. But anyways, today, feel free to ask some questions. We're just going to talk about anything. Looks like a ton of you guys have already joined. Like Kaz, I've seen, has joined. Benny's here. There's heaps and heaps of people, heaps of names I recognize. And feel free to ask any questions. And basically, this is just a good question, I think. I should be doing my school task, but I'm watching you instead. I feel very humbled that you said that. No, you should probably be doing your schoolwork. I don't want to be distracting you. But how do you do it, mate? I seriously envy the setup you have. Second. So yeah, I guess we'll start talking about that. So thanks so much. Basically, I'm now 20, so I've just turned 20. I was 19 when I started the fish room, and anyone here who's younger than me, I hope I don't know, you've realized that you don't need to be like old and have your own house now to do a big fish room. You can take on a bit of risk and do it yourself. But for anyone, like, I guess when you're young, you actually have more time, and that makes it a lot more easy for you to be able to spend hours and hours and hours building something. So that's why I think I've been able to do what I have done. And also I've been obsessing over having a fish room since I was like 15 years old. So that's a long time to think about what you want and how you want it set up. And if you guys have seen any single fish room tour video with anyone that's like made something that's really, really spectacular. So like first things that come to mind are like Eric Bodrock at Oddball Aquatics, and like Dean's Fish Room's incredible. I mean, even Aquarium Co-op, obviously their fish room's incredible. Those are just the first people that come to my head. I mean, LRB Aquatics, there's a ton of people, and any of those fish rooms I studied. Like I was writing down notes on how I wanted to do it. I actually did a stream, you guys might have seen it, and I was talking about how I was going to set it up. There was like all these pieces of papers, this drawing, and I think just like really applying thought to how I was going to do everything. And one of the things that was really challenging was that I was given such a small space. So I've got like 16 meters squared, which is tiny, and had these like big ideas for it, and I had to really fit it in there, and that really forced me to think about things. So that was kind of how it all happened. But I haven't gone live in so long. That is so true. Have you had much luck with your rams? No, I actually haven't yet. I was just thinking about this actually on the drive home from the fish room this afternoon, and I think it's just a game of patience. I've actually had they've been breeding. I've only got electric blues and blacks at the moment, so I haven't got any German blue rams yet, and definitely spawning behavior. Actually, the black rams have bred 3 or 4 times, but I've got 4 pairs of black rams at the moment going. So that's like kind of 1 or 2 spawns each time, but I haven't had the male fertilize the eggs. Now, I believe that's because I didn't have, like, the fish could see each other through the tanks, because I forgot to paint my tanks in my fish room. So there's a little lesson if anyone's watching this and they're going to build a fish room. I forgot to paint the tanks. So I put up dividers in between the tanks now, and that should hopefully stop the males from getting distracted during breeding time and trying to attack the other males next to it and stuff like that. And we'll get some fertile eggs. A lot of people will be saying in the chat that they reckon it's because the hardness in my water is too high, and I've done tests and stuff like that. The pH is literally 6, and like the hardness is nearly 0 out of the tap. So yeah, I don't think it's got anything to do with that. It's just everything's kind of settling in still. And yeah, gonna have to leave. Oh, Kaz, thank you so much. We'll have to watch the replay. Wish I could stay for the throwback stream. Yeah, I know. I wish you could too. Those albino cories that you sold me are doing spectacular. They made a ton of babies. So yeah, they're in good hands. But yeah, no, back to the black rams. So yes, I've had breeding, but they aren't fertile yet. So I've got like 2 German, I don't know why I'm saying German. I've got 2 black rams from when everything was at home and started breeding from my emergency spawn. And I had moved those fry into the new fish room and just lost a ton of them. It's not easy moving fry. It's not something that I recommend ever doing. And unfortunately, that's just how it was. So I got 2 survivors, but I was lucky enough to find some more local black rams. And I definitely, I mean, I can't say, I don't want to like, you know, curse myself and be like, I'm going to breed them, but I should have them available within the next 5 months or so for you guys to buy if I can get my stuff sorted and the fish, you know, settle in and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I make money off my fish, so it helps me pay out the bills. That's good. That's always good because the hobby, you want it to be self-sufficient so you don't, you know, burn out in the monetary side of things because it's really important. But yeah, quick question. Can I keep danios and guppies together? I'm kind of nervous about putting them in the same tank. Yes, you can, but you will lose a couple of fry when the guppies breed because the danios will eat them. They're crazy, crazy, crazy. Patience is key. I have a pair of longfin GBR and a pair of electric blues that are spawning every couple of weeks. And yes, my GBR didn't make it fertilize the eggs for the first 3 goes. Yeah, so like I've been having the exact same problem with a lot of stuff actually, Benny, because it actually makes me feel really good that you said that because my angelfish, my koi angels, which I have 2 pairs of, and I'm going to have a couple more pairs because I'm pairing off some of the juveniles that I grew up, you know, like I've selected, bred them, kind of stuff like that's not making sense. Anyways, the original pairs that made all the babies and that I ever bred, I brought them into the new fish room. I've had 2 spawns from one of the pairs and I've had 1 spawn from the other one. And all 3 of the spawns have not been fertilized. So I placed up barriers between the tanks. I'm hoping that'll make a difference. And, you know, everything's still settling in. I don't think I'm too far gone because everything's still breeding. So that means, you know, if stuff's not comfortable enough to even lay eggs or produce eggs, then I've got problems. But I'm pretty happy. I'm 19 and although I don't have a fish room, I have a 10-gallon on a desk with my PC. Really cool setup. I bet it is. That's like the best kind of tanks. I've got 2 pairs of a Pistograms Borellis. I don't know how to say that. I know exactly what they are, but I don't know how to say it. Hoping they breed soon. I think I need more almond leaves in there. So any of the Pistograms that I've ever bred, I've had a lot of success lately with my cacatoides. These are the orange flash. I haven't had any double red spawns. Very, very annoying. But the one thing that really made a difference was getting the hardness in the water down. So really, like a lot of like my water out of the taps for some reason very, very soft, but the hardness, like you can have really hard water out of the tap and it's definitely worth it, like testing it, but the hardness seems to affect the spawning. So if you can get like rainwater, for instance, or some RO water and put it in there and like, you know, condition them and then introduce the RO water, they're going to think it's a rainy season. And then that makes a big difference. Like adding almond leaves and stuff like that does work sometimes. And I've like probably said in a video that it does work, but I started using rainwater and it just made a huge difference. I was getting like 20 eggs and I went up to 100 when I started using rainwater and RO water. But yeah, I have a pair of Jags peacock bass, which are Kelbras and a red devil pair and some Severums and a lot more. Haha, sorry about spelling. I'm going to breed red jewels, princess cichlids, and cribs in the same tank. Hopefully yellow labs too. That's going to be a challenge because you want like I'd only go for one, but like I mean you can do anything inside your tank. Like it's up to you, but you'll definitely have more success if you just try and like pick just one thing to do in the one tank, because one thing that like you can actually get stuff breeding in the same tank, but you need a lot of grow outs, especially if you're doing like 3 pairs. So yeah. One thing too with the rainwater there, Blake, because I like just gave you the advice. Be careful adding stuff that comes off of your roof, because some people have like new roofs with like bird poo all over it and stuff like that, and it can filters into your rainwater reservoir, and that cannot be good for your aquarium. So it's definitely worth testing it. Test the nitrates, the ammonia, and test the like the pH and the GH and all that kind of stuff. See what's in there. One thing too that you're always going to risk when you're using rainwater or anything from outside is you're going to bring in parasites every now and then. So you got to just be wary of that. That's why I've moved to RO water, and because you've got complete control over the water rather than taking it out of your rainwater tank, which is outside, which I do, but I can't. I don't do it anymore. Like when I had my fish room here, that's what I did, but I don't recommend it. I didn't run into any problems. I don't think that was due to that, but I was always wary of it. And I didn't want to like say it on YouTube because I didn't want people going and making mistakes because I said to do something, how it is. How do you grow Java moss? A lot of patience. Java moss takes quite a long time to grow. I'd recommend getting like a big clump of it from somewhere, like spend the extra, $5-10 and get like a really big pile of it, and then just keep it in a tank with like guppies or something like that. And the, ammonia and nitrates are going to help grow that thing. But it takes quite a long time. And Blake, of course, has to ask, which is, I'm really happy you asked this, are RO systems expensive? And the answer is no. So my RO water for the fish room cost, I would say, under $150 with all the little finicky parts, but it would cost, the RO unit itself costs $70. And so you just buy that on eBay, look up Aquarium RO water system. It'll come up, and buy that one. It'll just be like, they're also like transportable RO water systems. What I did was I linked it up to like an outside hose tap with like an adapter thing, and it just pumps into a reservoir. You don't need anything special. You don't need the pressure tanks or anything like that. It's not confusing at all. I definitely should make a video on just how my thing works, because I thought it was going to be like a $500 expense when I built my fish room, but it ended up being like $120, I think. Like the RO system was like 70, and then the little pieces around it, like the water tank and stuff like that, was like nothing really. So yeah. See you, Benny. And what do we got going on here? So it's really hard. We've got so many people joining. It's crazy. I just never thought I'd have this many people. What's my biggest aquarium disaster yet? So I'm going to assume you're saying in the current fish room. I'll tell you, I guess one of the, like, I'll always be honest. So when I first moved into the fish room, the way my water change system works is it pumps from the tap into a big tank. And the reason it pumps into a tank is, first of all, it lets it like the water sit there and get gas exchange. So it like gets rid of some of the chloramines and chlorine and stuff like that. But like Brisbane hates aquarium keepers, like the town water supply. And they add chloramine to the water. And basically that stuff's super hard to get out. So you can't just filter that out or spray it in and get it out that way. You need to treat the water. So it goes into a big water tank, gets treated with like the chlorinator, and then gets pumped into the aquariums. But that adds a bit of room for risk, because if you don't dechlorinate the water, you can kill a bunch of stuff if it gets pumped into the fish room. So one day I left the pump on, because the way the pump works is it turns off. Like there's a pump inside of the water tank, and I just turn it on when I want to turn on a water change. And the pump automatically turns off because it's got a little float. And when the float hits the bottom, it's done. That's the end of the water change. But I left that plugged in and on. And then I turned on the water tank to fill it up, and it just pumped a bunch of chlorinated water into my fish room. This is right when I got in there too, and all the fish are stressed. And I ended up nuking a tank with super red bristlenose, which was very expensive to lose here. some peppermints, and a couple of chlories here and there. So I came in, I think, just in time, because I turned it on in the morning, came back in the arvo, and I was just like, kind of like, what's happening here? And turned it off, put chlorine in all the tanks, and it sorted itself out. Like, I mean, but I lost a ton of fish. So not going to make that mistake again. But like, that's just one of the simple examples of what can happen. And one of my mistakes, because like, I'm definitely not afraid to tell you guys what mistakes I make, because everyone makes huge mistakes. But that was an expensive one. That was really, really annoying. And especially when you've just moved into your brand new machine and something you've been spending ages and hours, like time staying up, making it happen. It's just super, like, you know, it's a bit like twisting that knife inside of you. Just like, oh, really, really wasn't nice. But yeah, that was my biggest, I think, so far. And hopefully that'll be the biggest. Yeah. What air pumps do you use in your fish room? So I've got like it's a diaphragm pump. I don't have a linear air piston pump because I couldn't find one. I was going to use one. So I've got a diaphragm pump. It's a resin. So if you look up like it'd just be for like septic tanks. I think it's what it's for. So if you look it up on YouTube, not on YouTube, sorry, I'm on YouTube, so that's why it's a bit confusing. If you look it up on eBay, you'll find it. It was like maybe $200. So, I mean, compared to like doing individual air pumps and a bunch of plugs, it was definitely worth it. I've got a big central air pump system. And actually, it did cost me $400 because I bought two. So the reason I bought two is in case mine goes out and I go there in the morning and there's no air on, I don't have to go around Brisbane and try and find another air pump. I can just plug my other one in and buy another one. So yeah, that's basically it. How are my black rams? They're good. They've still got to breed, and so I can give you guys some, because the amount of messages I've been getting for black rams is just unbelievable, and comments too. And I love it. I'm blushing because like it's like the nicest thing ever to have people want to see you have your fish. But yeah, it's been like a challenge. They've been pretty tricky. A lot of people like can't believe I'm having a live stream. I know it's been ages. It's really good to see you all. I can recognize so many names. You got Bobby, you got Alyssa. There's heaps of new names too. Yeah, it's crazy. Someone here is in Scotland, which is ridiculous too. I can't believe that I'm talking to someone through a phone in Scotland. Yeah. Based on your experience, how fast are angelfish? Do you think I can keep 15 with an Oscar in a 320 gallon? Oh, no, probably not. I mean, like, I'm not going to say you can't, because I'm not in a position to say you can't, because that's a big tank, but I would just not even try. That's a huge tank, but it would be pretty cool to see. Wow, some of these comments are so nice. I took my heater out of the water and it was still on and exploded. Haha, whoops. Yeah, I've made that mistake as well. That was when I was breeding the neon tetras. I had those little heaters because now I'm in a fish room. The whole room's heated. So like gives me a bit of insurance, I can take stuff out. It's really, really actually nice to be able to do that. But back at home, it was just like, if it was cold out, the water was going to be cold. So I needed to heat everything with little heaters. And I left my heater on and I could smell, so I took it out of like these little containers that I was breeding them in, and I left it. I don't think it was on the floor, but it was like on like a little wooden box or something. And like I came back after cleaning something and I smelled like burning. And I was super confused because sometimes, like during winter here, because we have such bad bushfires, they do controlled burns. So I thought it might be that. And I looked over and the heater was like cooking the wood. So like, that's not good at all. And my first instinct, like I've never had a heater blow up. My first instinct was to chuck it in the water. And I just chucked it in the water and the whole thing went poof and cracked everywhere and blew up. And lucky there was no fish in there. But another dumb mistake by Nick. That's something that I think everyone kind of experiences. I thought I'd never do it, but just in the moment, just chucked it in there. So yeah. How's my neon tetra doing? Is it breeding good? My neon tetras are not breeding. No, I'm not trying to breed my neon tetras. I probably should. But they were a challenge, those neons. Like, it was a lot of work. I never even ended up selling them. I just kept them all. And like, the only reason I'd want to breed them is if I could breed like, it'd be like a challenge, and I probably should try and do it. But if I could breed like a couple hundred and then put them in the tanks at home, that'd be really, really cool. But yeah, they were hard work, and I don't think I've found the secret sauce on how to do it. Like normally when you start breeding certain species and things like that, you get in like a bit of a rhythm with it. So for instance, like when I was breeding like dwarf neon rainbows, and like when I'm breeding them now in the new fish room, you get into like a rhythm with it. You know, you're taking spawning mops out, you know how to keep the water and stuff like that. The fish gets like clockwork. It's the same with bristlenose. It was the same with angelfish at home. And I forgot what my point was. But like, oh yeah, the neons. But like the neons, it was, I could never find that like bit of, you know, consistency with them. It was never like, oh, I could take them out, put a pair in a box with this parameter, and then they'd spawn in the morning, take them out and stuff like that. It was not that easy. So yeah, it would have been nice to be able to do that. But I guess that's just how it is. It kind of blows my mind that they're so cheap because they were so tricky to breed. Thanks so much to everyone. Just so much positivity. It's crazy the amount of people that are watching this at the moment. How much time am I spending in my fish room at the moment? So actually quite a bit, and I'm not at all sour about it. It's like the best thing ever. I'm spending, well, like for a long period of time there, I was spending like all day there, like at least 10 hours a day, because I was like building it and stuff like that. But now it's gotten to the point where during the week, most of the time, I drive in, feed it in the morning, which takes about 30 to 40 minutes. Feed it, check on the fry, like move eggs around and stuff like that. I don't know why it's done that. I do very minimal work in the morning, and then come back in the afternoon and spend maybe another hour and just go through and do that. That's just during the week. But then on the weekends, I can spend like ages in there. Like today, I spent probably 5 hours in there, and it like in Brisbane, it rained. And I didn't even know. I just heard thunder outside, and I came outside, and it was like literally sunny outside. And I went in and came back out, and it was gloomy and wet. It was the weirdest thing ever. And like there was days there, because I'd have the door shut. I'd go in the morning, and then like come out for lunch or whatever, and then go in the afternoon, and I'd come out and like it'd be nighttime, and I didn't even realize. Like, you know, when you go to the movies, you go like in the afternoon, and then you come back out and you feel like you've just skipped like 5 hours of time. And you come out and it's nighttime. It was that really weird feeling. But I spent quite a bit of time. I reckon, I don't know, not enough time. I definitely need to like get back on. I don't know why my camera's doing this. I want to spend more time there. But a lot of the time, because like at the moment, I'm just patiently sitting there and waiting for stuff to breed. There's not a lot that I can do. Like everything's set up, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure everything breeds, but I can't really do anything at the moment. So I'd say roughly on average 3 hours a day in a week. But yeah, that's just right now. Can we use normal gardening fertilizer for our fish tank? No, you need to use like organic stuff. So I remember using, I don't remember what it was, but there was a certain type of fertilizer that you could use. But have a look around. It'll be on the forums. But a lot of the time too, like I was using those fertilizers, and they don't work as well as other stuff does. And I'm not a big endorser of fertilizer because I'm not a huge plant nerd. I like very simple plants and easy to grow plants like Anubias, you know, just your standard stuff. So I don't really need to use any fertilizer. But when I did use fertilizer, I was using like Flourish Excel because I had it, because I was getting rid of staghorn algae and stuff like that. And it made a difference for sure. But it definitely worked better than anything else that I tried to like shortcut, because like a good bottle of fertilizer for like a small tank is like $30, I think. And then like fertilizer for a garden would be like $8, but the result is definitely worth the difference in price when you compare the two. That's just my opinion, you know, like you don't have to listen to me. My advice is just to go and have a look around on like the forums and ask some people. Are you selling or breeding any super red bristlenose? I wish I was. Yeah, I was just talking about it earlier in the stream. I nuked my little juveniles, so that's not very nice. And you know, that happens when you have a fish room, but I will be eventually getting another group. I'm pretty flat out of money. When you build a fish room, it costs a lot, and it's my business, so it's definitely worth, like, it's like investing in my business. But yeah, I can't afford another colony of superheads at the moment. Who made your tanks? I got Aquariums R Us in Brisbane to make them, and they were pretty good. But if you live in the US or Canada, you can get Easy Green from Aquarium Co-op. Yeah, I've heard that's really good. They've been like on fire lately, Aquarium Co-op, and I'm sure they're never going to see this, but they have now got the brine shrimp eggs, I believe, and it's pretty crazy. Like, because I remember when I was like 13 watching them, and they had like 25,000 subscribers, and then now they've got like 500,000. It's just surreal, and like all their little branded things, like their sponge filters and like all that kind of stuff. It's just crazy that they've got their own little branding going on. Well, not little, it's huge, but like I think like I can't recommend Easy Green, but it's definitely something that a lot of people use. Would I ever sell to locals? Yeah, like I have in the past, but I try not to do like meetups, because like it's just easier sometimes to ship stuff, because like now they've got the whole fish room, it's just easier to like go to the post office once and send out things. But I'm pretty soon going to have stuff back up on the website. I've been out of stock for like 3 months. I had like maybe 1 or 2 pieces of Anubias available, but I had nothing available. And yeah, so pretty soon, like I reckon within the next 2 weeks, I should be good to go shipping fish again. It's going to be pretty good because it's summer here now, so it's going to be easier to ship stuff. And I'm pretty excited for that, actually. But I keep getting messages. I'm pretty excited to do it, but I'm just waiting on the shipping. So I'm going to use Toll, because I was using like Couriers Please before, which wasn't that great. And then I used Fastways, and they weren't that great either. So I'm setting up with Toll now. But yeah, it's been kind of like annoying, because like it's hard to set up like these little accounts and stuff like that. Everyone's like doesn't really care about you if you're small, unless you're like huge, then they're like a priority. So you got to be patient with it. But yeah, do you use ice packs for shipping? Not yet. I probably will have to use ice packs depending where the packages are going. If I was shipping from now until maybe halfway through December, I'd probably get away with just nothing in the bag. But I'm not an expert at shipping, and I've still got to learn and make probably some more dumb mistakes. But we'll see. I'll figure it out. And hopefully my customers are patient with me, because I'll never like sell fish and not follow up on what I promised. Like if the fish you have dead on arrivals, I always make sure that no one loses except for me. So yeah. What's my name? My name's Nick. Wow. What else we got going on? Do you put wild moss in your tank? No, I don't put wild moss in my tank. I haven't found any wild moss, to be honest. Dude, my work has so much trouble with Couriers Please and Fastways. Yeah, it's like I'm not going to bag them out, because my stuff needs to be like, on time. And a lot of other people don't have something alive in a box that needs to get somewhere by a certain time. So like that extra 2 days doesn't really make a difference, and then they're okay. The good thing is they come and collect it from you. So that's why it's good for some businesses. But yeah, I mean, for shipping fish, I was looking it up on the forums, because over here, our shipping sucks. Like in America, you've got so many options, and there's no restrictions on shipping livestock and things like that. And yeah, so like I looked it up, and like I was looking at all the forums from like Australia and stuff like that. And honestly, I couldn't find anything. Like someone said to use freight, and I was like, well, I'm not going to freight fish to customers. I'd freight them if it was like over like a couple $100, but it just doesn't work. So I looked at all the other people who are shipping, like all the big companies, and they're all using Toll. So I've got to play the same game and use Toll now. So Your fish room inspired me to build mine. Any advice? I would, okay, honestly, I would just study everything, but I'll just tell you what I would change in my next fish room. So the first thing I'd change is I'd add a different floor. I'd probably do like a gym floor, like some of that stuff that they use to like that rubber. I don't know what you'd call it. It's like what they use in a gym. Like if you go and like lift weights and stuff like that, I'd use that on the floor. I would use metal stands. I wouldn't use wood because the wood ones take up a lot of space and they also can rot. And I haven't had rotting stands or anything like that, but that does keep me up a bit at night. I would don't use LED strip lighting. Use like floodlights were what I added to my tanks and it made a huge difference. The plants settled in. I mean, yeah, the plants did really well. The fish settled in. Use floodlights, or don't skimp out on the lighting is basically the main point. You need good lighting. You can use like aquarium lights, but don't use like, I tried to get away with using like TikTok strip lights. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but yeah, I did that. And what else? I thought, and the gap between your tanks, be really conscious with that. The gap between mine's kind of like perfect for me, but it's hard to get into like my fry boxes and see what's going on in there because of the gap being so small. So be really conscious of that. And that's my advice. Like, yeah. Pretty sure my order from Live Fish went through Toliad. Be about right. I use Ozpost. I wish I could use Ozpost, but you're actually not allowed to ship anything alive in Ozpost. So I've had people ship me stuff, and I'm not going to say who, but like I've had people ship me stuff in Ozpost, and it's perfect. They get on time. You know, they're really, really good most of the time, but they have to sneak it in. And yeah, so I'm not really comfortable with doing that, especially when it's like a business. Like if it was just like once off, I was just breeding stuff casually, I would definitely just do that. But I've got to put on my big boy pants and make sure I do everything properly. But that's definitely, I'm not saying to do that, but you can definitely do that. What's my snowball pleco's favorite food? So they love at the moment, I was feeding them a lot of bloodworms, but I kind of came and stopped doing that because I heard someone tell me that this is maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like I've been aware of it, but I didn't think it was a problem. And people were talking about like them choking on the bloodworms, and mine are still relatively small. So I stopped feeding them, but they loved bloodworms. But they probably their favorite right now is the Rapashi grub pie. They go nuts for that. So maybe do that. Or no, I think grub pie is definitely the favorite. I've actually been feeding a little bit super green, the Rapashi super green gel, and they've loved that too. How do you breed ghost shrimp? Is it difficult? No, not at all. You just have to put them in a tank and they'll breed. What do you recommend in medicating your tank, like having a parasite in it? So this is going to be like, this is a huge can of worms. A parasite, I'm guessing you're talking about something internal. You got to do research because everyone's got different brands of medication, and you got to find out the chemicals inside of each medication to try and target what you're trying to do. But I've been using this one. It's called Discus Wormer. It's just like some off-brand, but it's flubendazole, I think. And I've been using that for internal parasites because I had just internal worms, like a tapeworm or something like that, in a lot of my fish. And I was using like praziquantel, and it worked. But then I got struck with Camellanus redworm when I was bringing in a bunch of fish for the new fish room, and that was a nightmare. So praziquantel doesn't kill Camellanus redworm. So I had to do some research. And I looked it up, and levamisole does, but you can't get levamisole here. It's really, really hard to find. And the only other thing was flubendazole. So I got that, and that worked. And apparently it kills the eggs as well. So that was the chemical I use. I keep getting asked how the black rams doing. They're doing good. I've got 4 pairs going. I haven't had any successful spawns, but I've had some spawns. And I think that it will be very, very soon. You guys will be first to know when they do. have a viable spawn, because I will be through the roof so excited. I'll be so happy. Repashing morning wood. Yes, but I only use that for xylivores. So I use that for my L397s, because they are wood rasping fish and they love it because it's got cellulose in it. So they need some of that in their diet. But I don't feed it to like the plecos, the L134s don't want it. And the other stuff doesn't really want it. I only feed it to them. Sometimes I feed it to the bristlenose as well. What did I use to make my website? I would love to do something like that to support my hobby. I just use Shopify. I've had it for quite a bit of time, and yeah, it's fun. Have I ever been to Aquarama Stafford in Brisbane? Yes, I have, and it's a very good store. It's like, yeah, it's always good to go and check out those stores. I have a discus that's sick, and I'm hoping to use Love Amazon and Praz. I know a guy if you need it. Okay, cool. Yeah, if I need it, I'll ask. How do you feed your guppy fry in a community tank? The best way I found to do that is, first of all, you can just feed baby brine shrimp and everything will eat it. So I just spray a bunch of that in there. Or the other thing is crushing up flakes when you feed. Just crush them up, get your fingers in there, make like a powder, like a mist, and they'll eat that too. So yeah. I've been searching for a live for so long and I finally found one. Hey, how are you? I'm really good. It's like crazy. I can't believe how many people are joining and, listening to me talk about my fish room and stuff like that. It's crazy. But I'm doing really good. I'm glad you could join the live. Hello, Elijah. I've noticed you. How do I stop algae from growing? So it depends, because algae, I've made like a video about this, and I think I spent a ton of time making that video so that I could reference you to it. But there's a video on my channel. I think it's how to treat green water or something like that. You'll find it if you look up green water from me. And I talk about it in there, but you basically got to find why the algae is growing and then try and cut that off. So like, for instance, if you're overfeeding, got to cut that off. Because, obviously the overfeeding makes more nutrients and stuff like that. Lighting, if you're over lighting, cut it off, overstocking. So there's a whole bunch of little tricks. I actually talk about putting floating plants up the top if you have green water, and the floating plants work really well because they cut off light going through and they use up a bunch of nutrients as well. So that's how I treated some green water in some of my tanks. And yeah, it was pog. What do we have going on? Do you know when your Pistograms are going to be ready? They're actually ready now to go. I was going to start shipping them out. I'm saving 1 or 2 pairs for myself just so that I can breed them again. But like I said, I'm just waiting on my shipping my shipping account to go through with Toll, and then I can start shipping out the Pistograms. So I've got like the double reds, and I think in 2 or 3 months, I said 2 months, I reckon, 2.5. I'll have some orange flash available as well. So pretty keen to get them out. But yeah. It's good you decided to pursue your hobby. Really great videos also. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, but I'm lucky. I'm, young, and I just, I'm very I want to show a lot of gratitude towards, everything I'm doing, because I'm just very, very lucky to be able to do what I'm doing right now. And I've wanted to do it for a very long time, and yeah, it's been super fun. Congrats on 40K. Yeah, that's crazy too. I can't believe that. I remember when I started this channel and I was it was on summer holidays, and it was the end of, I was just about to go into my last year of school, and I was just really getting into, because I've been into fish forever, but I was just really getting into it. I had quite a few tanks, 5. Now I've got 66, but I had 5 at home, and I was breeding up guppies and cherry shrimp and stuff like that, and just for a little bit of extra money to support the hobby. And I just started making videos, and I was watching videos and making them just to keep me occupied. And I can't believe that when I was making those videos, I would never have thought that I would have 40,000 subscribers. It's crazy. And yeah, I mean, you guys are all like super nice and always comment on the videos and super positive. And yeah. Is the hobby better in the UK versus the States? I was just going to be, I actually want to, okay, if anyone has any insight, put it in the chat whether the UK hobby, this is aquarium hobby, is better than the States. I'd say no, but like they're both good for different things. Like the catfish breeders in the UK, I think, are pretty crazy and like good compared to the States, but the States has just so many people. And I think they've got more variety too. But yeah, Australia's aquarium hobby is great, but like the thing that we have that sucks is so many border restrictions, and we can't get cool stuff, and we live so far away from most of the fish that we want to get. So the only thing we've got is really like the rainbows near us, and you know, we've got some cool like fish obviously, but all the stuff I like is from South America, and we're so far away from it. We can't import half of it because it's catfish, so it's super annoying. But I reckon it's hard to say. Like they're both good for different things. The UK hobby and yeah. What have we got? What's your thoughts on using a buffering substrate as a filter medium? Go for it. If you want to buffer your water, it's a good way to tackle both things because the substrate is going to act obviously as filter media. So no problems with it at all. I think it's a good idea if that's what you want to do. We need more insane fish here in Brisbane. Yeah, I know. I might be like, I don't want to like say it too early, but I might be getting some really, really cool fish that I've wanted for a very long time and are very hard to get here. And I might be getting them within the next 2 weeks, but I'm not going to say it because you know how like breeders are, sometimes they falls through, things like that. So, but yeah, hopefully I get these things and show you guys because I think you guys will find it really, really cool. Hey mate, I'm from Australia as well. I've just started breeding shrimp, cories, and guppies. Just wondering how old you are. I'm 20, so I just turned 20 at the end of October. So yeah. When are you getting a tour of my fish room? I've got to make more videos of the fish room. I did like what is it? I did like 2 or 3 tours in a row because I changed so much in between doing the tours. So yeah. Am I going to do a collecting trip in the future? Definitely. I want to go to the Amazon really, really badly. I don't know why. I like wasn't big into traveling at all. It's never been something I really enjoy because I like being at home and I feel like Brisbane is my place. But I just have recently got the urge to like go and explore in the Amazon because like that's where all the, you know, stuff that I work on comes from. And so I really want to go and see around there. And it's hard because it's like hard to collect there because you can't bring in anything, you know, back because you can't bring anything back because like of all the border restrictions. And it's also so far, like say anything you could bring is like probably going to die. So I just like to explore it. But maybe if one day if I'm living in the US or something like that, I'd definitely go there. I'd go there like every year and go grab stuff and bring it back and see if I can breed it and do all that kind of cool stuff. Because that's just what I like doing in the hobby. I feel like I've found like my thing. Like I remember when I was really young, I was like trying all the different things in the hobby, like aquascaping. I got into aquascaping for a bit, got into the shrimp for a bit, everything. Now I think the like thing that I really enjoy in the hobby is the breeding. And I just, you know, that feeling when you like come into the fish room and you see something like, for instance, like even like sometimes when I see like bristlenose pleco eggs, I get like excited. It's just that feeling. Like I come in and a pistogram is bred and there's little babies or something like that. That's just like, you know, yeah. That's like kind of like what I get from this hobby. I really, really do enjoy it. Peru is also good. There's like angels and discus and incredible cories. Yeah. I mean, like all of South America. I would love to go there and check it out. But yeah. How often do cherry shrimp breed? I think every 20 days, but I can't tell you at all. I don't know for sure. How do you plumb a fish room in depth? Sorry, not. Will you be doing a video on that in the future? I definitely can do it in the future. There's a lot of things like that I still want to make videos on, but basically the way you plumb it is lots and lots of elbow grease, like just figuring it out yourself. And you got to plan it before you do it. You got to have like an idea, trial and error. I actually stuffed up the whole plumbing of my fish room. The guttering didn't work and it was flooding, and I had to get the plumber back in and change the whole thing. It took an extra 2 weeks of just work, just trying to fix up my old mistakes, but just lots and lots of trial and error. One of the best things you can do with plumbing is making sure you have big pipes, like really, really big pipes. And you also want to have a lot of grade. And I didn't have either of them. So that's like really, really important, especially if you're trying to shove something into a really small space. So I kind of got away just, but any smaller, I would have been dead meat. So you definitely, I will definitely like make a video and talk about it, but it really is hard to explain because it's going to be so different for everyone else. Is YouTube my full-time job or just a hobby? YouTube is not my full-time job yet. It's just a hobby. I wouldn't say it's a hobby. So like, because YouTube's now like my business. So like I run YouTube like it's a hobby because I wouldn't want to run my YouTube like a business. I want it to stay very like organic and fun. But I mean, it ties because like now I've got the breeding facility. So I do like lots of breeding and stuff like that to sell to you guys and to sell to stores and stuff like that. So it's like kind of like my thing. But it's just part-time at the moment. I've got uni, so I do university, and I'm off until the end of summer over here. So I've got a bit of time to work on my business and make YouTube videos and things like that. But I only do, like I wouldn't say part-time. Like I'd love to do this full-time, but I'm just not at the point yet where I can. And I also have like a little casual job and stuff like that I do as well. But my intention is definitely to do this full-time and grow it and make it into something that I want it to be. I've got like a vision for how I want everything to go, and I'm still trying to do it all properly. So yeah. How am I feeling about salt water? Not that great. I'm not going to be doing salt water for a bit. Sorry, Alyssa. How are my L397s going and how long till I can breed? They're going good. I haven't had a single L397 loss. I've got all 10. They're about, I reckon, I've got a ruler right here. They're about 6 centimeters, maybe. So they're getting there. I reckon they're going to breed within the next year. And apparently they're pretty easy to breed. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's just a big patience game. But yeah, they're going good. Just got to be patient with them. Weird question, but did I watch Yo Gabba Gabba as an Aussie kid? No, I think I'm like just at the point, like I was like 11 when that started coming out. So I kind of like wasn't watching that stuff at 11. But like if you are, cool. Like I don't really care. But no, I didn't watch that. I definitely remember it coming out though, because I thought it was like, I was like, what the heck? But do you have a multiple aeration system? So I don't. I have one central air system that runs branch and hatcheries and all of the aquariums. And then I have a separate little one for the fry boxes that like the only way it's going to go out is the air pump breaks or the electricity goes out. And if the electricity goes out, then both of them will go out. And if one breaks, I can just swap them over because I've got replacements. Is there a water equivalent to a drop bear? No, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Did you have problems with bloat on Ancestris? How did you solve the problem? How did you cure it? I have had bloat. Okay, yeah, I actually have. I bloated some juvenile bristlenose before. And the way I bloated it was I thought I was feeding Rapashi Super Green and I fed grub pie. And the protein difference is crazy. Like grub pie is obviously made out of bugs. So it was a huge amount of something that the fish would never find in the wild, or like would find but never eat, because they eat algae and plant matter and stuff like that. So the protein bloated the fish and blocked up the guts. And the way I fixed it was I just stopped feeding and fasted the whole group of them for like 3 or 4 days. And then it kind of like went away naturally, but I've never really dealt with it before because I try and prevent rather than have to treat. But I'm not the best person to get advice off of just for that, because I'm not that crazy experienced with dealing with bloat, especially on bristlenose, because they're so annoying. Where did I get my fry boxes from? I got my fry boxes from like a little place online 2 years ago. I bought 4 and I've become really useful. And then the other ones, I got fry boxes in above my tanks, and I had to go around to 15, like it wasn't 15, it was like 5 different kitchen stores and buy a bunch of different boxes and see which ones fit. But yeah, like lots and lots of trial and error. I don't know the place where I bought them from originally. They were really hard to find here in Australia. So super annoying, but yeah. Some people are off to do their water changes. Do you have electricity regenerator in case of power outages? No, you're not being, keep asking questions. I love answering the questions because I wish I had someone to ask the questions. So I don't, but I'm really lucky. Like I've got family that lives real nearby, so like 10-minute drive. So and they've got regenerators as well. So hopefully if it's just the area that goes out of power, I can go to their area, get a regenerator. There's like 2 or 3 people that I can get a regenerator from, so I'm not too worried. But when I've got the finances to do it, I'll just buy my own because I don't want to like have to worry about it. But it's like highly unlikely that I'm going to run out of power, just based on where I am. And also, like, I've had power outages for 24 hours and it's normally okay. It's just like pushing it a bit. So one of the best things to do would probably be to get like, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely have to get a generator. I don't know, just thinking about that. Do you have any problems with your plecos breeding? No, not at all. I haven't got like any plecos that are old enough to breed in the like L-numbered plecos, but my bristlenose breed fine. So one thing with the plecos is they just have to be ready. Like you can't force it. They all have to get like old enough to breed, and then they become like clockwork. What's my favorite fish to breed? Probably, I really like breeding pistos, but I really also like breeding. I like breeding plecos because I like watching the stage and it's really hands off. And maybe egg scatterers. So like, I liked breeding the zebs, like the zebradanios. They were fun, but I have no specific one. I like angelfish a lot because that's also hands off too, and that's like constantly like eggs. So you get that feeling quite often, like every couple of weeks, you get like, ooh, egg feeling. But yeah. Also, is from a building that's old that used to be a house and got turned into a commercial building, and there's still garages from when it used to be a house. So my building's actually built in the 20s, so 1920. So my building's nearly 100 years old, and it's got a fish room in it. So I'm sure that when people built that before the Second World War, they definitely didn't think that there would be a fish room in there, but there is, and I'm renting it. And yeah, that's just how it is. Any tips for starting a business? I'm probably not the best person to ask. I think just like go for it, pin the ears, and just try. Are koi toys a good investment? Yes. Yeah, koi toys. Like any fish is a good investment if you like can sell it. So, you know, koi toys, people love them. They're cute. There's tons of different types, and they can be a good investment. what's the hardest fish you have to breed? So definitely would be these silly little Danio chopos, these glow light Danios. So for some reason, I went to the local fish store. They had glow light Danios, and they're super hard to get because you can't import them into Australia. Hi, Matt. And you can't import them into Australia, so it's really hard like to find them. And any basically that are here forever. Like that's just like you can't get any more unless they're smuggled in. And I found them, and I thought it was going to be super easy. Like the last name's Danio on the fish. I thought it was just going to be like putting them in a little breeder box overnight, coming back in the morning and having a bunch of little Danios. But they've been really, really hard to breed. I think maybe they're not comfortable enough. I don't really know what the deal is. But I haven't been able to breed them. I've tried putting them in like a little like aquarium where the water's really shallow, tons of flow with like little rocks on the bottom so they can spawn and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're definitely really, really hard to breed. Why don't you have a try at getting killifish? I will at some point, but like I know I was complaining about not having enough space, but I literally don't have enough space at the moment. I've got so many little things, so I can't fit really much more unless it can go like, I can't even think about more fish right now. How do I get my angels to breed? Because every time they lay eggs, they eat them. So one thing that I would do is make sure they're not in a community aquarium, because that can stress them out, and then they can like not eat properly. I mean, not breed properly because they're trying to fight off other fish. So take them out of a community aquarium, get them on their own, and then just be patient. Like one thing you can do as well is like when they breed and they're done breeding, just take the eggs when you see them and hatch them artificially, because some angelfish just never learn how to take care of their eggs and you're just wasting your time. So I give them normally 2 or 3 attempts to do it. And if they don't do it, I just take them. And sometimes I like doing that a little bit better. Like it is a little bit more work, but every time they spawn, you will get fry then, rather than like them eat one spawn, you know, like, so it's much more consistent to do that. I'm starting a fish room. Any tips? I would just, like I said, just like watch and obsess over other people's videos. Like that's what I did. I just looked at everyone's stuff and tried to figure out what I want and be like, really, really know what you want to do with it. Is there an underground epic criminal fish smuggling organization or anything of the sort that I don't know about? I'm new here. I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, there definitely is. I don't know. I'm like obviously not like knowing of anyone who smuggles fish, but I heard, because I've asked around, like, and I'm not like asking to do it. I've just asked like people how it happens, and what I've heard is that the fish are brought in as like, for instance, we'd call them like guppies or something, and they come in a box, but inside of the box is like a rare pleco or something like that. They can't be brought in, or like arowana or something like that. And what happens is apparently when they go and get checked, they swap the boxes so that like they take a box of guppies from the destination where the fish are going and swap it with the arowana box, and then you've got the arowana box in, and they check the guppies and it's fine or whatever. And that's how they do it. So it doesn't, like, I don't know how much people do it. Like, I don't know what the deal is, but definitely does happen. There is like a whole like thing. And the other thing too is like the end buyer, like for instance me, just a hobbyist guy that's like going to the fish shop, would never know whether that fish has been smuggled in. And the problem with smuggling is, first of all, it's really hard on the fish because it goes through hands so many times. And yeah, it's like breaking the law and stuff like that too. So I don't really like it that much. Have you seen David Blaine's frog trick where he swallows water and then he keeps a frog in his stomach and throws it up? Yeah, I've seen that before, but I definitely don't think I would want to be doing that with a rare pleco. Yeah, not like a $500 fish. What's your thoughts on frozen food? My Barello get a mix of brine shrimp, cyclops, daphne, and aren't interested in flakes. So yeah, I've had that before. You need to, like, my black rams, my original pair only took they got really, really fussy and were only taking black worms, like live black worms, because I was only feeding them it. What you need to do is just slowly take away the foods that they are like love. If you want to introduce flakes, slowly ease them away from it, and then slowly start adding the other food. But like sometimes too, like I'd rather feed my Pistogram and Barella shrimp, cyclops, and daphne than like flakes. Like, yeah, it can be a bit more expensive, but you're more likely to breed them. And if they're going to eat them, they're not going to foul up the water. And like all of those foods have more nutrition than the flakes. So the flakes I just use as like filler food. So like if I don't want to use up, like if I'm low on bloodworms or if I'm raising up fish, I try and use more flakes. But like all my adult breeders and stuff like that, I don't really feed much flake to. What brand brine shrimp eggs do you use? They are so expensive. They aren't actually that expensive. So like I use Ocean Nutrition now. I was using these little satchels that I bought on eBay and they were working all right. They were like $25 and they'd last me a couple of weeks. But this satchel is, I don't know how many grams, and it's lasted me ages. So yeah, it's the Ocean Nutrition eggs and they were pretty good. The hatch rate's not amazing, like 90%. I would prefer to have something with a bit more like hatch rate in it, but it's like hard to find brine shrimp eggs here in Australia too. Well, there's just not as many options here. But yeah, I think everyone here is probably like, if anyone here can guess per annum, like per year, how much they spend on brine shrimp eggs, put it in the comments, because I reckon it's like, well, now it's a lot, but I used to spend probably $400 on like brine shrimp eggs a year on my little fish thing. Like, yeah, $600. Like, they can be expensive, but also you have to think about it. How many fish do they help you raise? Like, you need to have baby brine shrimp to raise fish properly, I think. Some people it's 450, 550. Yeah, so it's like pretty similar. I reckon, yeah, 450, 550, 600. I reckon not over $1,000 unless you got like a massive fish room, like with 65 tanks. But if you're breeding anything, it's like can be pretty pricey. Have you bred green phantom pleco before? Do you have any tips on how big they need to be? No, I haven't, and I wish I could, but I haven't seen any. Like plecos here in Australia are super hard to find because we're not near where they're collected, and we're also not allowed to bring them in. So like it's really up to the breeders here to breed them, and then also because of that, they've got full control over the price, so it can be really, really expensive for just like a single fish. Have you bred L144 blue eye plecos? So those are the blue eye lemons. I haven't. I still need to get some to grow up, but I just haven't had time. And yeah, I'm also like, I need to buy them with. It's like crazy. So come on, internet. I reckon I'm going to talk for maybe like 10 more minutes, and then so if you guys have any more questions, and then I'm going to go to bed because I just wanted to do a quick live stream, tell you guys what I'm doing, and catch up. And yeah, how many empty tanks are left in the room? So I've got, I think 16 4-foot aquariums because they're all for grow out. So they're all empty. Well, most of them are empty. This is light down here. Most of those tanks are empty, but all of the 2-footers are full now, or like maybe 1 or 2 of them aren't. So I've got tons and tons of stuff. What's the largest fish I have? I reckon the angelfish are definitely the largest. I don't have very big fish at all. I've got some huge plecos, but that's about it, like huge bristlenose. But I've got nothing. No, I've got no big monster fish at all. What's your favorite fish you keep? honestly, it changes every day, but I really like the L134s at the moment. They're so cool. I love their personality. And they just look so cool too. Any idea if I can keep one cardinal tetra with 10 neons? You can, but I don't know. I don't know whether they'll school together or what. Here's an interesting comment. I've kept fish in Europe and here in Australia. We are so ripped off and we have to have a much limited choice. I'm trying to find a pea puffer and I found them 2 days ago. $300 each. God damn. Yeah, I think I know where you're looking at. Yeah, it's crazy here. There's apparently like a bloke that's been breeding up them in their hundreds. So when he's got them available, I probably should be buying some and trying to breed them and not selling them for $100 each. But it's like ridiculous. Yeah, $300, 150. Like, but also someone that like they don't just have them and like got them for $2 unless they smuggled them. One other thing, like they have to buy them for that price and then breed them. So like I don't really mind. But it's like crazy. What's the first fish or fish related thing you ever sold? Like some cherry shrimp to my local fish store. And that was when I was like 14 and I got store credit and I bought I was going to build a fish room in the garage at home, and my mum didn't know. I drew up a bunch of pictures and stuff like that of how I was going to do it. And it's going to have like 8 tanks on top of this IKEA table that I was going to buy, and I was going to breed more shrimp in it. So I was going to buy like red rillies and I was going to buy like blue rillies and stuff like that. And yeah, and that's what I was buying. Here, one sec. So the internet's terrible. I might drop in new merch soon. Probably not. I'm not big on the merch because like yeah, everyone